All right, so now I want to go over some trend identification strategies with the Ichimoku clouds. There are about 6 that I want to talk about, 3 specifically in this lecture alone. Now, you can use these trend identification indicators to either trend trade, mean reversion trade, or find reversals because they'll show you trend strength and when a new trend may take place. So number one, I want to talk about a very easy trend identification strategy using the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen here. Tenkan-sen being this baby blue line, Kijun-sen being the pink line. Hopefully it looks pink to you. It looks pink on my computer. So this is just seeing which line is on top and which one is on bottom and waiting for them to cross. Now when you have the Tenkan-sen, which is the blue line once again on top, that means you have an uptrend in place. When there's space in between the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen and you have the Tenkan-sen on top, that means you have a very strong uptrend. All right. And then when they cross, that shows that you may have a reversal on your hands. For instance, here you see that the Kijun-sen is on the top. The pink line is above the Tenkan-sen, the blue line. And then here they cross, there's space between the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen, and you have an uptrend taking place that continues off of the charts. So when the Tenkan-sen is on top, you have an uptrend. When it crosses the Kijun-sen from below, you have a potential reversal from downtrend to uptrend. So Tenkan-sen on top means uptrend. Kijun-sen on top means downtrend, like you see here. Kijun-sen is on top and it crossed. The Tenkan-sen was on top here, crossed below the Kijun-sen, and you can see that there is a small downtrend. This would be called a correction in a lot of cases, but this is a downtrend. Indicator number 2 is watching both the Tenkan-sen and Kijun-sen in relation to the cloud. So remember, the cloud is made up of span A and span B. All of the indicators, no matter, this is TD Ameritrade's platform. I'm not sure what countries this is available in. Most will have the cloud filled in, some will not. So you have to know that this is span A and span B. In between those two spans is the cloud. So when the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen are below the cloud, as you can see here, you have a downtrend. When they're above the cloud, you have an uptrend. Now, the indicator happens here when you see that the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen rise above the cloud. Right there. So you see the Tenkan-sen on the bottom, crosses the Kijun-sen to the top, and then you have them both go through the cloud. So when they both cross over the cloud, that is the indicator of a new trend. There's another indicator right here as the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen go from above the cloud to below the cloud. So when these cross below the cloud, in this case, that is an indicator that you should be looking for short trades. You shouldn't look for a long trade. If you're trading with Ichimoku techniques, you can use it alone. Once again, it's the most reliable indicator for trading forex, at least. So if it's below, the price is below the cloud, then you're not looking for a long position until the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen cross the cloud. Now with that being said, thirdly is when the price crosses the cloud. The Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen are going with the price closely in most cases, but when the Tenkan-sen, Kijun-sen, and the price cross over on the other side of the cloud, then that is a very strong indicator of a new trend. Now you can see every instance of this happening on this one chart. You can see that we have indicator number 1, the Tenkan-sen is crossing the Kijun-sen and forming a new trend here. It's crossing the Kijun-sen here again from top to bottom. It's on top with an uptrend here, and then it crosses to the bottom and you can see a downtrend here. And then the third indicator is looking at the price. So your Japanese candlesticks or your line chart or your bar chart or your Heikin-Ashi charts, whichever chart you're using, looking for it to cross to the other side of the Ichimoku cloud, which is over span A and span B, is an indicator of a new trend. Now, ideally, the way to trade these would be in a consolidation here. You can see that we have every Ichimoku indicator that I just talked about, all three of them, which isn't all of them. We'll go over the rest in the next lecture, but you can see that we have the Tenkan-sen crossing, the Kijun-sen, and then we have the price crossing span A and span B, which is the cloud. And then we have the Tenkan-sen crossing from the bottom of the price over, or not the price, I'm sorry, from the bottom of the Kijun-sen over to the top of the Kijun-sen to show that we are now in an uptrend. Now here you see the indicator as well, the Kijun-sen and the Tenkan-sen start to flatten out, which means since they are mid prices, there are no new highs or no new lows when there's flat spaces like this. Now this is an indication of a consolidation. When you see flatness in the Kijun-sen and the Tenkan-sen, then you should be waiting for them to cross or for it to continue back into the trend direction. So those are three trend indicators to find when you might be going into a new trend and find the strength of your current trend.